This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
A radio show that talks about economic development, construction, business expansion, and all of those things that make Omaha a great place to live or visit. Grow Omaha on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Glad that you have joined on this beautiful spring weekend morning. Jeff Beals at your service from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate, Omaha's premier commercial real estate firm serving Nebraska and Iowa. And we're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, top-notch residential and commercial roofing contracting services. Well, without any further ado, it is time to introduce my co-host, my good friend and the living real estate legend with an emphasis on living, Trenton Magid.
You are too kind, Jeff. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. What a great week to be alive in our city.
Lots going on. Congratulations to Gene Stothert and RJ Neary for being on the top two.
Yeah, it's going to be a race, a 5 or 6 week race to see who our next mayor is. And if nothing else, it'll provide a lot of interesting political theater, as elections always do. Well, we want to remind you before we go any further to make sure you are hooked up with your Nebraska Crossing Fast Cash app, because every time you go and purchase anything at one of about 75 different stores at Nebraska Crossing, you will get 15% cash back. All you have to do, go to your Nebraska Crossing app, sign up for Fast Cash, you put in your bank information, i.e. credit card, then always use that credit card when you purchase things there. It goes into your digital wallet. It has to percolate for 30 days. As soon as that happens, that's real money, and you can go and spend that to buy whatever you want at Nebraska Crossing. Well, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Thank you very much. Eagle Mortgage has been around for 30 years, and it doesn't matter whether you're looking for a conventional FHA, VA loan. Yep, they do all of that, refinancing too. And believe it or not, a lot of people are still refinancing. Gosh, I took care of that thing a long time ago, but when I talk to Eagle Mortgage, they say, yeah, every day. We have people that come in and are still refinancing, taking advantage of these amazingly low interest rates that are still out there. And of course, if you want to buy a new house, they'll help you with that too. Hey, speaking of new houses, later in the show, we're going to bring on Jill Anderson from NP Dodge Residential Sales, kind of give us a little snapshot of what's going on in the market. Also later in the show, Patrick Sokol, Nebraska office leader for Turner Construction, will be joining us. But first, let's get into that news, Trenton.
Lots going on.
Oakview Mall has changed hands.
Yes, it has. And it's something that we reported on the first ever weekly Grow Omaha market report. Jeff put together a heck of a newsletter. And I got to tell everyone that was a big story there. Within an hour, John Chapman from Channel 6 called me, and we went on the air a couple days ago. And for the record, I did not sell it. And we report the news here, just like we have done for 17 years. A great story on Channel 6 if you haven't seen it. But that thing sold for $7.5 million, and it included the Longhorn Steakhouse, the main center mall, and also the West big box department store, which is currently the Rush Market, and it was Yonkers, I believe. Mm-hmm. And the other 3 department stores are separately owned. And so it'll be very interesting to see how it transitions and see what happens with that area.
Yeah, and if you were to scrape a cornfield and build Oakview Mall from scratch, we're talking, $100-some million, $200-some million or something like that.
Absolutely.
So to sell for $7.5 million, interesting, not unexpected, given the situation and the current condition of enclosed malls.
The concern is, my guess is the best thing that could happen to it is that this group that has about 40 malls around the country, you can research them on your own. However, I think the best thing that could happen to it is that they flip it for more money, make a quick buck, and then someone that's a long-term player for the guts of Oakview Mall to come in and find permanent tenants. There's no question there's consternation with the current tenants, and how much traffic is going to be in that area. Now, the Ring Road, there's been a lot of activity and a lot of transition on the users around the Ring Road.
Away from retail.
Yeah, away from retail. And the thing is, and as I said on the Channel 6 interview, is that area is solid. You got a lot of traffic. You got a lot of daytime population. You got a lot of nighttime population. And you got major developments going on a mile away at Heartwood Preserve. And it's just an obsolete product type, and that's the enclosed mall. But again, it's an expensive. It's probably about $7 million to tear that thing down. But then you have the other owners that you have to contend with. You have use restrictions, easements, covenants, and restrictions. You got physical plan issues. So I don't see it getting torn down just because the cost of it. It'd be cool if enclosed malls around the country, Jeff, were multi-purpose, like whether it would be a production facility for a major network or something, or a community college that could use the food court, that could put up apartments, hotels. There's so much parking there. They could have lab space. They could have large group spaces. There's so many things to do with it, but it's just such a big thing that most of those places would either go ground up or it's just not needed right now.
My thought is that in 25 years, mark this down, ladies and gentlemen, in 25 years, enclosed regional shopping malls will be the rage. They will be retro. They'll be so popular. Investors will be trying to find ones that survived the great purge and demolition of malls, and those that survive are going to be turned into these amazing places, and they're going to be so popular. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Crossroads is gone for something better. The South Roads still stands. West Roads, it seems like that should be.
Mall of the Bluffs is gone.
Mall of the Bluffs is gone. West Road seems like a mall that should last the duration. And if Oakview stays intact some way, mark my words, 25 years from now, there will be malls that will be the most cool retro place. They'll be so in style. And you'll hear people say things like, why were people so short-sighted to tear those down?
Yeah.
People back in the 2020s were so stupid. You know, we always talk about that. But
It's like
the
tearing
ones
down
that survive,
statues.
the ones that survive will be incredibly popular.
It might need a new roof then. The other thing that people need to understand is that a lot of these national tenants, they thrive on traffic. Okay, so if an anchor goes out of a mall, the co-tenancy clauses in some of these leases kick in where the rent might cut in half, and that hurts the value of it. It hurts the tax base. It's a spiral effect.
Hey, really fast, Trenton mentioned the newsletter, the Omaha Weekly Market Report. The inaugural issue came out on Thursday.
About 8:30 a.m.
We've got about 6,300 people on the list. Now, this was the very first one that was issued, of course, and we send this thing from a automated system. So that means a lot of them go into spam files. If you signed up for it, and many
didn't,
and many of you did, and you didn't get it, here's a couple things you can do. Number one, check your spam file from Thursday morning. The other thing is enter this email address into your address book, news@growomaha.com. Enter news@growomaha.com into your email address book or put it on your approved senders list. Then you shouldn't have trouble getting it in the beginning. And of course, if you aren't signed up for it, just send an email to news@growomaha.com. So,
and if it is in your spam folder, I've learned this from necessity, is you find it your spam and then you approve that email address. I think that works as well, doesn't it?
yeah, depending on the system, but all of those are ways to take care of that. And we definitely want all of you to get it because we put quite a bit into it.
Every Thursday you'll get one, ladies and gentlemen.
And we can't fit everything into the show. So, okay, quickly, founders of two successful tech companies have launched a new startup. It's called Workshop, and it has received about $3.5 million in seed money already. This new company, Workshop, sells a software product that facilitates communications inside companies. Interestingly, the founders are the people who founded Flywheel and Median, two previous very successful startups in Omaha, both of which have been sold to Texas companies and are doing pretty well. And then, Trenton, I want you to talk about this a little bit. Yesterday, you had the opportunity to tour that new building at Regency Landing that has been renovated. We're talking about Interstate 680 and Pacific Street.
Yeah, our friend Chris Nielsen gave me a tour of a really neat project. Access Commercial and Development are totally rejuvenating and changing up about 107th and Pacific Street to the north. There's an old gas station that's now vacant that is going to come down, and there'll be an entrance there that can come down into the development. It's several acres. They're going to keep the two main brick buildings and totally update them, keep some of the tenants, get some new restaurants in there. They're going to have a pickleball place.
Early Bird?
Well, next to Early Bird.
Early Bird, yeah, okay.
Okay, and there'll be a couple restaurants there. They'll probably have some upscale hotel, and they can do a couple 100,000 square feet of office. This is right next to the Ethan Allen development. It was developed by some friends of mine and good clients whose father, Jack Moritz, developed that, and that's where the hotel was, the original hotel, and very visible from Interstate 680. So that'll be a neat development. It'll take a few years to get completed, but it'll be worth it.
And finally, a Lincoln-based company known as Spreetail tech company, which already has a pretty good presence in Omaha, near about 75th between Pacific and Center. They have an office there. They are going to add 200 new jobs in Omaha and take down another 35,000 square feet of office space. This was something that I thought was interesting. The press release from the company says Spreetail will continue to hire and bring talent to Nebraska in 2021, estimating more than 50 families will relocate to Nebraska for those jobs this year. And then another interesting thing they said, it said many people associate Spreetail as a Lincoln-only based company, but it has an Omaha office that is expanding, as we said, with about 40% of its workforce living in Omaha and continuing to grow the Omaha workforce. It said Spreetail is growing the team in Omaha. And one of the things, this was the thing I wanted to say. It said Spreetail has attracted new residents to the Omaha-Lincoln region and hired 25 plus people that came to this region from Boston, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. So there's a good relocation to Nebraska news right there.
We love that because it reminds me of Hay Needle, which started out as hammocks.com. They had basically a category killer, and it was hammocks.com, and their tagline was accomplish nothing. So I thought that was classic. But that merged into several channels, several websites combined into one, and that's what Spreetail kind of sounds like to me.
Silicon Prairie, baby. And that is your development news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. When we come back, we're going to bring on Patrick Sokol. He's the Nebraska office leader with Turner Construction, and talk about a lot of the amazing construction things that are happening, what Turner is doing here in the Omaha area. You don't want to miss any of this. You are listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Do you have someone giving you a no-cost risk assessment of your roof?
So, Patrick, I'm just going to go through the things you sent me on that email. Okay. And Trent, if you want, I'll just put this here so we can both see it.
Let us come take a look at
so we'll just kind of go through that.
Yeah, hopefully that's all right.
Yes, it'll say it goes real fast.
D&M has been a proud Omaha business since 1965. Find us online at dnmroofing.com. That's
When we come back, do you want to
let's get that fixed.
Promote the YouTube channel and kind of joke about how people can see us? Yeah, so don't tell anybody yet about it, okay?
We want to wait till it's clean. We got a lot of organization to do still. I'm thinking maybe 1 to 2 weeks we should be able to. Yeah.
OSI Oakland Foods is
You guys aren't even going to be listening to this for a few days anyway.
Some of them are already up.
For employees, offering a $550 referral bonus
This
plus many
particular show.
benefits. Transportation is available to and from Omaha, Council Bluffs, and Atlantic. Equal
Yeah, Chris
opportunity
wanted us to
and
hold
we
off
can
on
be
all that
verified.
stuff just before so we can test it and make sure we test the integration with the website and all that.
What a great company. And they would like to encourage you to consider advanced planning. And if you
Josh, it's like going back in time.
I know.
Yeah.
Where's the red headphones?
Oh, those are long gone.
They didn't have staying power.
You finally you gave up on the Huskers, is what you're saying?
No, never.
Wow, you're a trooper.
Not giving up on them, maybe have a few doubts.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I got some questions.
We got a few questions that need to be answered.
A little consternation on them.
So Patrick, so we overlapped a little bit down to Lincoln because I stayed for 2 more years for grad school. So I was actually being there from '87 to '93.
All right. So yeah, we would have overlapped.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time in our hall and engineering halls, and then actually about 4 years of that, I'm like, do I really want to be an architect? So I changed and went to school for business, got a degree in business. From actually Bellevue University, where I started for Miller Electric at the time.
For Miller Electric?
Yeah, I did the lighting.
They're a little busy with my client is
as he reveals the dangers. Stinchfield gives you the cold hard truth you need to know. Find Newsmax TV on all major cable
Electric out
systems, or get it free on Roku,
their partner on
YouTube,
Facebook.
Xumo, Pluto, and Smart
Commonwealth?
TV. Download
No,
the
out
free
of
Newsmax app on your
Minneapolis.
smartphone.
Huge.
Woke is
I think they might
dangerous.
even be
So
doing,
watch Stinchfield on Newsmax tonight.
might even be doing
Hi,
Amazon.
this is Eric with D&M Roofing. When a storm hits your commercial property,
Jaron,
you
who's
feel
over there on
overwhelmed.
that side.
To
I mean, he knows a lot of the trade partners
process.
better than I do.
But
I
D&M
probably know
Roofing
just
is
a
on your
handful of
side
them
and has
right
been
now.
It's your major electrical contractor.
Services like our free no-cost risk
Welding
management
is
for
on the
commercial
mechanical
properties.
side.
We
They partner with
provide
Miller.
preventative analysis to potential damage, repair, and documentation
While he's
of
looking
all
that
issues
up,
found. Does your commercial roofing company do
So you
that?
were both architecture
D&M
and
Roofing.
architecture
Find
and
us
engineering
online
before
at
you went switched to business.
Yeah, just architecture, but there's a lot of engineering. Construction.
We're ready.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Look at that.
Hi, this is Chris Baker,
back.
and as you all know, my best friend Chris Tritico lost his daughter in a tragic murder. ABC
Jeez, that
News
sounds
did
awful.
a really
Really
touching
uplifting.
story, and you can see it on the Chris Baker page at kfab.com.
And welcome back to Grow Omaha, the only show that focuses on the growth and development of your favorite city and my favorite city. And we're glad that you have joined us. My name is Jeff Beal, sitting next to Trenton Magid, and we are with NAI NP Dodge. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing. Well, we want to introduce you to Patrick Sokol. He is the Nebraska office leader for Turner Construction, which is one of our sponsors here. They bring you the lightning round each and every week, which we know most of you consider your favorite part of the show. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be here. I appreciate the invite, Jeff and Trenton, and the ability to talk some more about Turner. And I think there might be a lot of questions out there in the marketplace of exactly who Turner is still, and we want to continue to get the word out to everyone that is interested in Turner.
Well, we appreciate that. And when we look for people to sponsor the show, for companies to sponsor the show, we obviously want companies that we're proud of being associated with. And we started learning about Turner when the company came to town to build the Sarpy County data center, which is certainly not a small project.
Not a small project at all. And that the first phase of that's really starting to wrap up towards the end of the year here. 5 and 6 will start to be complete. So first part of 2022, and now the next phase is starting to spin up in Sarpy County as well. So that's going to be called Sarpy County Data Center 1 and 2.
Okay, and that's the part that's technically in the Springfield, Nebraska Center. Right?
It is. It is in Springfield. Yep.
So you moved from the Papillion Data Center and expanded it to the Sarpy County Data Center.
Yes, Sarpy County. I think there's some branding and some
when it becomes the
recognition.
Nebraska, you guys
the Nebraska Data Center
will be well entrenched. You're already well entrenched, and even in worldwide, Turner has amazing projects, small and large. But even in Omaha, just in the last couple of years, it's grown exponentially.
It really, really has. I mean, in 18 and 19 placed a little over 300 million of volume. This year, right now, we're on track for about 135, and we have some other projects in the pipeline that really, hopefully, we'll find out about here in this next quarter or two. And so, we'll be roughly about 150, hopefully 175 million in volume this year if everything goes well for us.
So Turner opened up offices in a building that Jeff and I sold at auction many moons ago. And that is in the Mastercraft building downtown, about 13th and Nicholas. That's an interesting choice because it's really a organic startup. It's a really vibrant community down there. How did that happen?
It's starting to become more vibrant with COVID. Everyone's in masks. We don't see as many people, or there isn't as many people down there. But, we wanted a place that we were next to other startups, something that had an innovative slant to it, geeky cool. Wanted to be downtown. A lot of our offices across the country are downtown, integrated into metro areas. And then there is something for the airport, whether it's our clients nationally that are coming in or some of our other resources that are supporting Facebook and our other projects. It's just adjacent to the airport, so it allows us all to co-locate downtown.
So Turner, is a very large construction company that works all over the world, based in New York. But tell us a little bit more about the organization internationally, and maybe and also what it's doing in Nebraska, or what the plans are in Nebraska.
Yeah, so I mean, Turner overall is a multi-conglomerate organization of around 60 businesses that all tie up underneath a German company. But really here we're focused in the U.S., out of New York. We have 36 different business units around the country, continuing to look for other markets like Omaha there. And here in Omaha, we've been coming up into Omaha for over 30 years out of Kansas City and Denver. I really made a commitment to this market 4 years ago, brought me on a little over a year ago, others 2 years ago, so really starting to get out into the overall market, the community, beyond just the data center work. I think we could be labeled as a really big company that's coming into Omaha to only do data center work. So we're working hard to move away from that perception.
I'm intrigued, what is the Turner Dog Spot?
So the Turner Dog Spot, one thing with Turner is that we're heavy into innovation. We spend a lot of R&D money on innovation, and we really feel like that's where the future is going. To leverage things like Spot or AI and data to just do things more efficiently. Also, there's a considerable shortage of labor, and so Spot is a dog, autonomous, that can be programmed to go on site, actually has a LiDAR scanner and other sensors on it, and it will walk around that site.
It's a robot.
It's a robot, and it'll ID items that aren't in line with the BIM model. And it, so it compares its scan to the BIM model, so we know where things are off.
I know what BIM model is, but explain it for the viewers.
Yeah, so just building information modeling. So everything is drawn in 3D in there. So where every single conduit, duct, stud needs to go, lighting, and so forth. So that dog compares the drawings to what's actually getting built, and then it also allows us to look at progress. So where is the current project? A lot of clients are, the pay apps are going out to the architect's reviewing those, and the clients really want to know, where are we in this process? How far is my building along? So we can actually give them a real-time snapshot of this is exactly where your building's at.
That is amazing technology, and it reminds me of the comedian Stephen Wright when he said he spilled spot remover on his dog, and now he's gone.
No, he's gone. I'm not sure how they came up with that. There's actually no spots on the dog either, but it's pretty fascinating.
It's not a Dalmatian.
It's not a Dalmatian. No,
it's probably like a golden doodle to be hip or something like that.
So I have a 6-month-old golden doodle. Let me tell you, golden doodles have a lot more energy than Spot.
And they like to eat clothing and all kinds of fun things. So be careful, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. But
Patrick, let's talk a little bit about the employment needs. You mentioned that earlier, and we hear so much about construction companies having a darn difficult time finding enough qualified people because the market is so busy. Exactly. How big of a problem is that, and what is Turner doing to try and grow the construction workforce in Omaha?
Yeah, so great question. There definitely is a huge need as Turner continues to grow into this next project, and we're bringing on additional projects in the Omaha area. We're casting out that need and understanding in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months what we need. And right now in Omaha, we have a need for 14. Des Moines, actually 44 staff. We're looking there, and then Kansas City has a great need. So from engineers to superintendents, project managers, schedulers, MEP field and office staff, really across the board to be able to keep up with the demand that we have. So one is getting on shows just like this and saying, hey, there is a need. So if you know someone that's interested that might be an entry level up to a senior level, have them go on to turnerconstruction.com careers, fill out a profile, and Jake and HR here in Omaha will definitely reach out, try to understand the interest, and get you engaged. And then beyond that, we're really going out currently into high schools, community colleges, organizations, and promoting the trade. We're bringing those individuals that are interested out to our job sites. We're walking through those job sites with them. And then really to leverage the community even further, we're starting to work with and become more inclusive and look for, groups that are on a diversity slant where we can bring them in, start to educate them, and get them involved in our projects. So instead of looking for direct employees, we're really trying to educate a really diverse sector of Omaha, bring up their acuity level and understanding of construction, and get them involved in our projects as well. So it's a fun.
I think it's great how companies like Turner and others are starting at the high schools. I know Owen Industries, Paxton Veerling Steel have been instrumental in setting up a program at Westside High School for welding and different trades. And people don't realize that college isn't for everybody as well. I mean, sure, there's leadership programs at Turner and other places, but you can also make a heck of a living going into electrical work, going into welding, and the other trades that are sorely needed, and the projects that are up and coming in Omaha with Turner and everybody else, sorely needed.
Yeah, it's absolutely essential. I mean, Sarah Hansen, who's been on this show before and runs our civic and community department, she's been out to every single school, every community school. She's given the speeches, found kids who are really, really interested, brought them out to the job site, and continues to work every day on it. So we look to continue to invest in Omaha.
We have just 1 minute with Patrick Sokol left, Nebraska office leader for Turner Construction. I want to touch before we go about construction cost escalation, because we keep hearing everyone say, oh my goodness, there's such not only a shortage of labor, but a shortage of materials, which is having some upward pressure on construction costs. What's your response to that, and what's going on with all of that these days?
Yeah, no, there definitely is escalation. COVID didn't help with manufacturing slowing down, and then ultimately the distribution of those items, to job sites. We lived in a world where it was just in time. That's starting to change, where people are looking for more warehouse space and to be able to store materials. Glass and curtain wall anywhere from 4 to 12%, steel studs and steel 10%. PVC, copper, you just start going down the line, and then on top of that, labor is going up. So, with Turner, we've produced a Turner Cost Index now for roughly 85 years, and that benchmarks where costs are at on a quarterly basis. And we leverage all 46 of our offices across the country to reach out to trade partners. So here in Omaha, we have roughly about 375 trade partners. We reach out to a great percentage of those every month, have them reply back so we understand where and what costs might be going up, might be going down, the confidence of the market, maybe gives us a little insight into how people might bid as well. And then all of that funnels back up nationally for it. And so really that Turner Cost Index is in somewhat almost like a holy book for contractors and developers and others around the country. So we feel like we have our finger on the pulse of what could happen.
Well, and that yet another reason for companies to choose Turner for their construction projects because of that kind of expertise and deep knowledge and access to data that a lot of other companies just don't have. Patrick, thank you not only for doing this interview for us and bringing us up to speed with what's going on in the construction world, but we really appreciate your sponsorship of Grow Omaha. It's companies like yours that make this show possible, and we're proud to be associated with you.
Yeah, well, we love being a sponsor, and we look forward to continuing. So thank you both for the opportunity to be here.
Awesome. Patrick Sokol, Nebraska office leader for Turner. And we're going to take our middle of the show break. When we come back, we're going to bring on our colleague Jill Anderson, who is the new president of NP Dodge Residential Sales Division. She's going to bring us up to speed with this crazy hot housing market that we have here in Omaha and a few other things. You are listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Everyone says they
Good stuff. Hopefully it was all right. Well done. You did a great job.
First time. No, you did a good job.
That was really good.
You got a radio voice, so we can you can link it and you can cut it up and do whatever you want.
Okay.
No, I thought that worked out great.
The staffing thing for us is really
If you'd be so kind to send it to news at Grow Omaha, or send to Jeff either way, news at growomaha.com, and put all your colleagues on there. They can always opt out, obviously, but this newsletter, it gives all your local employees a breadth of, you got it, so you understand what it is.
For one thing, this isn't probably the right form. I know you guys have to go back, but I wanted to reach out this week, and we're starting to put together a summit around innovation. I really thought it would be fun to partner with you guys and drive that and see some of it.
Yeah.
We had a couple really key companies involved. So
Oh, I do that in a heartbeat for you guys.
What's the scope of?
So we want to talk about.
Jill, we'll have you kind of head over here. Can you stick around a little bit, or do you have to split?
No, we can talk about
Okay.
that.
Why don't you two the split, then we can talk about it more.
We could videotape it and then put it on our YouTube channel too, and so you get it out there.
Yeah. So we could spread it a little bit more.
Yeah.
The other thing is I want to talk to you a little bit before.
Next one on the hot seat.
Before you go, I want to ask you one or two questions about that cost index thing.
All right.
So put that in the back of your head.
You know, we were so hard
An
on
idea I had.
your
Yeah.
predecessor, Mike Reedman, on the show. He feared being on here. No, he loved being on here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mike, yeah, I think he always got a kick out of it. We'll have him back as a guest co-host from time to time. Yeah. He's a good guest co-host because he kind of just knows it.
Is it okay we give him a shout out?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to give Reedman a shout out? You want to give Mike Reedman a shout out?
Mike Reedman, ladies and
He's not
gentlemen.
recording, sorry guys. It's going off.
Oh, that's all that we're missing out on all this.
You
It's
can
on
talk
here.
about what
So you want Mike Reedman on here?
Okay, fine. Mike Reedman, don't watch this. World champion wrestler in college.
So we'll just go through
International man of mystery. My brother's Pee-wee football coach.
Talk a little bit about the housing market and all that sort of stuff, just the basics. Oh, and then we have, when we first come back, we do a little quick thing for novel development that we'll do, and then we're going to do the lightning round a little bit on the short side because we're pretty heavy today. When does the show officially end today?
I'm going to start your music at 9:56.
Okay, and so then 90:56 and a half, then would be our out. Okay, that's perfect.
Well, I guess if you want to get super technical, 9:56 and 45 seconds.
I was gonna say,
is when I'll start the music.
but you were close without going over, so you would have won the showdown.
Yeah, but that's good. Don't jump us our 15 seconds.
yeah.
NMLS number 2376.
Very important.
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather Watch.
Outside of a lingering shower this morning, we are
I was trying to do shadow puppets.
cloudy skies.
On the video.
You were like,
I did a really weak dog imitation.
the camera's on you guys.
Yeah, we started doing it right about, Amy, February 1st, something like that? Mid-February, is that when we started doing this?
Only January.
Oh, is that already January? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have several in the can, they say.
Because we're launching a new YouTube channel, and so they'll have on the YouTube channel we're doing Omaha Uncut, which is all the commercial breaks, and then we'll also break it up into news of the week, the interviews, the lightning round.
Oh, got it. That's fun.
And
So keep it PG.
Yeah.
Because we're you can get away with a lot of, you can say a lot of dirty words. Not all of them.
as our sponsor Eric Obrecht has proven on previous Omaha Uncuts, you can say a lot of dirty words during the commercial breaks.
Zonkers Custom Woods. Have you heard the story of Zonkers?
I'm generally pretty good.
Two
Yeah.
South Omaha brothers. Dennis
In our 17 years, ladies and gentlemen, we have not used the 7-second delay.
Knock on wood. It's going to happen someday.
Omaha's
Can
newest
you show Josh
Liz Reynolds
Dodson,
Josh, do you want
our
to be
longtime
shown?
friend? Yeah.
Do you want to be shown?
He's the one.
I don't carry this.
Okay, show him.
He's the one with the halo over there. I think that his neck is really setting well, and the electrodes have been removed from his head.
Reynolds.com.
There are new forms
Heavy
of
is the head that wears the crown.
just when we need it, right? Yeah. So we wondered.
Your show's on Sunday nights, right?
To protect ourselves.
Not anymore.
Turns out we
What?
don't.
Oh, really?
Because
Yeah, I got too much to do here.
Oh, can't.
You got furloughed. It'll be back.
Yeah.
It's a great show. He
Yeah,
did.
because you're probably working constantly with all
Josh-
the production stuff.
Yeah.
Josh did the best movie reviews.
They were really good.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed it.
Thank you. I had fun doing it.
I
I would do it again in a heartbeat, but
Too much.
I can't work every day.
Yeah.
Your wife and child probably appreciate you
Yeah.
once in a while.
I probably caught it about
Stinchfield exposes woke's secret
5 to
agenda
10 times.
and its hidden
I always
players.
liked it.
Watch
Thank you.
Stinchfield
Yeah.
at 8
Well,
p.m.
see how it goes. Maybe you can bring it back.
Oh, yeah.
TV as he
I'm not going anywhere.
Hopefully movies will come back. There's no movies to review.
Yeah.
You need to know. Find Newsmax
That's
TV
frustrating.
on all major cable
Yeah.
systems. Or get it
I honestly, I know you, Amy, and you go to movies, but I have not been to a movie. And part of it's just because there's been so little inventory.
You know, they're talkies now and they're in color.
I have not been to a movie theater since before the pandemic.
You can get snacks at them now.
Yeah. They have popcorn, I understand. Have you been to it?
No.
Since then?
I
don't even.
It was never a thing before.
So we had to start wearing pants now that we're on video. It was shorts before. Come on, guys.
Potential damage, repair, and documentation.
So yeah, that's a habit I need to get back
Does your
into.
commercial roofing company do that? D&M Roofing.
Especially now that
Find us
ACX is
online
open,
at
which is
awesome.
about
Let's get that.
They actually have really good
3
food.
minutes from my house.
ACX, they had, what do we have,
Christ, how
hummus
long
and
are these commercials
vegetables
gonna last?
and
30 more seconds.
How much?
popcorn
30 more
chicken
seconds.
at ACX 12 plus, the new movie theaters.
What's that?
Yeah.
Bill Barstow's Palace.
It's 204th in the Coventry development.
Between
I haven't gone out
Q
there.
and Harrison. It's
I haven't
nice.
gone out there yet.
It's real nice.
They have a couple of huge. They have 12 theaters, but they have one that has like 60 channels. Some movies are recorded, not just here we go in Dolby or whatever. It's like 60 channels, so you can hear cars going by and stuff.
Cool. Pretty well. See what the leader of Black Lives Matters just purchased in California on the Chris Baker page at kfab.com.
And we're back thanks to D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge for bringing this show to you. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot at your service. And we are going to bring on our colleague Jill Anderson. She is the new president of NP Dodge Residential Sales. Jill, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. And you have taken over a couple months ago for Mike Reedman, who a lot of our listeners know. Mike would come on every quarter. And we're still probably going to bring Mike on for a guest co-host job every once in a while.
Sorry, Mike.
But anyway, Jill, and he is now president emeritus. But Jill, congratulations on the. You've been with NP Dodge though for a long time.
Yeah, started out with them as manager, moved to general manager, and now in president role. And I've been in real estate for over 20 years. Really aging myself.
You weren't there at the beginning in 1855, though.
No,
Either,
I don't think any of
were
us
we.
were. But yes.
NP Dodge was there, but not Nate.
Okay. So at any rate. How many agents do we have in NP Dodge Residential Sales these days?
We're right around 425.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
Good agent base, great agents. We're excited.
Are people still joining the residential real estate career field, given the craziness going on?
Yep, and I love the question. And on that note, we are always hiring. So if you're interested, reach out to us, reach out to me. We love to talk to people, get you into the career. There's never a bad time to join real estate because I think you're always going to learn something. You just have to have some motivation, and we will teach you how to do it.
Let's talk a little bit about this crazy red hot market. It's been just going bonkers for a couple of years now, but we hear things like houses becoming available and getting 20 offers before lunchtime, and agents not even bothering to put properties on the multiple listing service because it can go so fast. Tell us what's really happening right now.
Well, you know what, the things you're saying, some are true. It really goes back.
We try to do truth here on the show. I'm always true. Jeff is sometimes true.
We go back, let's look at the housing market in 08, 09, when we were coming out of the recession. We had high inventory. A lot of people were buying houses maybe that weren't in their price range that were affordable. So when we came out of that inventory, we actually from 10 years ago from where we are today had 89% more inventory than we do today. So what happened over those past 10 years was builders didn't build as much. Buyers were just sitting in their houses if they could, trying to catch up with some equity, which put us kind of to where we are today with a perfect storm of interest rates are low. That's fantastic. We were talking earlier, take advantage of those. Some decided, I'm going to just stay in my place, refi, maybe do some remodeling. But the ones that want to get out and move, they're kind of thinking, well, I want to take advantage of those low interest rates and possibly move up because our homes became our sanctuaries even more during the pandemic. We were working from home. Our kids were at home. We decided we couldn't go to public pools, things like that. So what could we do differently to our homes to add on to it to really make it our sanctuary is kind of then where people are like, well, I don't want to move. Well, then our housing market is in a shortage. So we're inventory shortage. People don't want to move. The pandemic obviously did not help. So back to your question of, yes, we are seeing some, price ranges. Certain price ranges are getting multiple crazy offers. What we're really advising people and, buyers, because they're getting worn out and they're getting depressed and they're like, gosh, I've written 5 offers. I haven't gotten something. Well, if you're looking up to, maybe your budget's up to, let's say, $300,000. Back when the inventory was high, you were probably looking at houses $310,000, $315,000. You should back it up now and be looking at houses $270,000, $285,000 to give yourself that upper hand to come in to expect you're going to be competing. Prices are going to escalate. If you want to win that offer, you probably better come in with some leverage to be able to buy up to your threshold.
I knew it was a hot market when I was going to get the mail, and there was a little sandwich bag on my driveway with 2 rocks in it and a kind of a cardboard color picture of a family, husband, wife, 2 young kids, and a note saying, "My wife just got a job at the local elementary school. By August, we'd love to live in your neighborhood. We'd like to have a nice backyard, and we'd love to buy your house." And
we'd love to tell all our friends that we live in Trenton Maggot's house.
My immediate response was, well, gee, if we can just sell this at a ridiculous price, then we can live out of our car for a while or go move in with my mom, which I don't think she would appreciate. But then immediately I thought, then we have to go buy a house that's too expensive. And so my sense is that that's what's slowing a lot of the home sales as well.
It's fear, like exactly what you said. It's that seller that's saying, I'd love to sell my house high, but where do I go? And to your point, if you have the opportunity, to make 2 moves, albeit move in with a family member, move in to an apartment, but the end goal is, you're still moving and taking advantage of a very low interest rate. So if you're moving up, more house, downsizing, it's still a great time. It's just finding some, a little curtailing of it to say, all right, I'm going to put my house on the market, but maybe it's subject to, when I get an offer, me finding suitable housing within a certain time frame. And those ideas are happening, but you hear it right now. Gosh, there's no inventory, so you go into fear mode, and you're like, where do I go? I'm not going to sell my house then. And realistically, we can't, have that fear or nobody will ever put their house on the market.
Yeah, because it seems like you always have situations during times in which there's a lot of coverage or attention on an issue in which people feel like the issue is worse than it really was. It was kind of like in the early days of the pandemic, you almost started to think if you got on an airplane, you would drop dead. But then you realize, well, people are still traveling. Right. So sometimes the hype around it is scarier than the reality, even if the reality is difficult.
Correct.
So people have to be more stealth, get pre-approved,
yes,
work with their agents, and get their stuff together. From a sales perspective, you want your house to be ready for sale because it's such a fast market. Can you address the time that things stay on the market, but also how quick things get approved? And I mean, I'm sure there's like 1 hour approval time, for response period from sellers and stuff like that. Have you seen some very interesting and changing things that way?
Yeah. In any market, I'll always advise it's always a price war and a beauty contest. So you've got to have your house prepared and you have to have it priced right. Then buyers, absolutely. You need to have financing lined up. If not, you've just coming in with a camel on your back and they're going to go to the next offers without even giving you a chance. So strong qualified buyer, probably a strong earnest deposit down is going to give them, the seller being them, that they look at your offer more heavily. And just be prepared. Get an agent that's going to give you the good advice that you need.
That's a lot better than writing a long letter saying how handsome your family is and how much you need a house, because they want price, they want timeliness, and put yourself in the seller's shoes.
And with that, we are out of time. But if you want help with that price war and that beauty contest, NP Dodge has 400-some agents who are very willing, capable, and ready to help you out. Jill Anderson, appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you both.
And we'll have you back periodically just to kind of keep us up to date with the residential market.
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
That's Jill Anderson, president of NP Dodge Residential Sales. We're going to take a quick last break of the show. When we come back, it's the lightning round by Turner Construction. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on 1110 KFAB.
Everyone says they like
good stuff, Joe.
You
can link it or do whatever.
So, Patrick, I was going to ask you, is that index open to the public or is it a private proprietary thing.
It is, so it's open to the public. We're putting it on the list. We're going to start mailing it out monthly and quarterly to everybody.
Because the thought I had, since it is available to the public,
You like the new role?
we have on our new newsletter
the
one
time you're
section is
coming
called
into it, it's
business
great.
news. Would like once a month or a quarter be appropriate when you send that out? That I put like maybe I would summarize just the most important stats from it and put that in a little brief, and that way it'll get you guys some more exposure for your sponsorship.
I mean, I built a company called World.
Do you want
Group,
to?
and-
So is there
and I sold it to Sullivan.
a emailing list that you could put me on,
And I've
or
been in both, but I'm really a producer and a broker,
Yeah.
a transaction guy.
Yeah, so whenever it comes
And,
out, I'll
when I went
take
from
just a
doing
couple of the key
deals
pieces, because we just do briefs
to
on there,
running
and
a
we'll put
company,
it
building
in
a
that
company,
local
like, when you're
business
the
news
redneck,
section
you're
of the
also
new
manager,
newsletter.
and you get your
And
everything in it, and
Just to give you an idea.
Oh,
nice
yeah.
peace of mind right
Okay.
now. It's just so much better, and it's fun. But it's just,
Oh, yeah.
a different. There's the
Okay, so when did this one come out?
That came out right as
Strategic planning versus.
Oh, okay, okay.
But anything you need, if you're
Yeah.
a shop or anything.
So yeah, I'll just pull like,
it's
I'll just pull a couple things from it.
I'm a believer though. Deb's done a great job with that.
Yeah,
For us.
because the
and,
cost
uh,
index would probably be the
our
most significant
great.
thing, right?
It was
I mean,
fun, 'cause I brought, like,
what
6
it
people
says,
over,
the
about
Turner
20
Building Cost
properties.
Index, that
Time and
subheading?
perks, we're moving into the
Okay.
new building a couple months later. And actually,
Yeah, that'd be good. Well, let's make that, yeah, that way we'll keep you guys exposed in that newsletter.
And I literally, my office was Jim Moore's office. We started the Moser Corporation. So for 3.5 years, his little office.
All right, coming back.
There we go.
We moved in 129. Thanks. Either way. You're good.
Hi, this is Chris Baker. Join us on
She's
the next
right
Chris
there.
Baker radio program. We'll take a look at what the heck's going on in that unicamera. Chris Baker Show.
I once caught a fish that was this big.
And welcome back to Grow Omaha. This is the lightning round brought to you by Turner Construction. The moment that you've all been waiting for, in which we cover a lot of different stories in a very short period of time. Turner is building for the future. You just listened to Patrick Sokol, who is the head of the Nebraska office for Turner Construction, talking about how hard that company is working to build the construction labor force. Yeah, sure, that benefits Turner, but you know what? We really appreciate companies that are going the extra mile to create employment opportunities for Nebraskans. We want to grow this place. We want to attract more talented people. And in order to do that, we have to have companies like Turner that are actively developing folks and recruiting them from other places, telling young people what's possible, and getting them to pursue their career dreams. So as you heard, Turner Construction has got their office in downtown Omaha, and they can do things as big as the Papillion Sarpy County Data Center, but as small as something in an office building for one of the many companies that are located here. So we appreciate Turner sponsoring the lightning round. Ribbon cutting yesterday for a new fire station on an empty lot at 3404 Q Street. It'll replace a concrete 1940s era station at 25th and L, which I think would be a great redevelopment opportunity. Have you seen that station, Trenton?
I haven't. I can't recall.
Okay, it's right there on the corner of 25th and L, and of course, one block over is the heart of Old South Omaha, which is a thriving commercial district,
dad's old stomping
entertainment.
grounds.
And I think you could put some glass where those garage doors are, and it'd be like a cool restaurant or bar or something like that.
Are they tearing it down?
They said that the city is appraising it for a potential sale.
Okay.
So I think a great location for Trenton's Sports Bar and Deli. Isn't that
Absolutely.
what you always say?
Yeah.
Sports bar, something in Deli. You always do that. Trenton's fictitious businesses are always the such and such something in Deli. Lansky's has opened at 168th and Highway 370 in Gretna. A longtime local favorite, has existing locations at 50th and L, plus Bellevue and Council Bluffs. Lansky's, of course, pizza,
Sure.
Phillies. I've always liked Lansky's. I don't get there very often, but I like it. So I'll have to try out that 168th and 370. Speaking of Highway 370, Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh is under development northeast of 192nd and Highway 370 in Gretna. That corridor is going to blow up.
Now, it'll be interesting to see if Hy-Vee's going to be an anchor there. I would not be surprised if they go there. The question is how long does it take them? Because sometimes they stretch it out, just like 180th and Pacific, but Hy-Vee definitely has a hold on the market.
I am in the mood for some Mexican food for lunch today, but unfortunately this new restaurant won't quite be open yet this afternoon. The former Old Chicago at 78th and Cass by the old Peony Park.
Tower Plaza.
Is to become a Mexican restaurant known as Hacienda Real. It is from Lincoln. They have 2 locations there.
I think in that case you pronounce the H.
No, it's Hacienda Real. Didn't you take Spanish?
Oh, you never do? Okay.
How many years did you take Spanish in the West Side Public Schools?
My wife and camera person just
Christmas.
Proved you right.
Yeah, it's pronounced the H in Hacienda. All right.
Hola, Jeff.
The concrete elevator stair tower is in place for a 6-story Union Bank office building at Heartwood Preserve, 144th and Dodge. Who says the office building is an endangered species?
They're growing.
That's true. People are building office buildings like crazy these days. The Swivel Apartments at 72nd Street, just north of Dodge, east of the crossroads, going vertical. Drove by this morning, and it looks like the second story is now framed out.
It's amazing. They're going to put that whole thing on a giant Lazy Susan. That's why they call it the swivel, right?
Very creative of you to come up with that, but they are putting it
kind of like the Beef Baron that had the bar that went around in circles.
Kind of, but kind of not. They're actually putting it on a former furniture store that will, according to the developers and construction people, hopefully always stay in place.
We'll have to inquire with Julie over at J Development about why they call it the swivel.
Okay, Lake Livin is a massive multi-family development planned.
578 units.
Okay, planned for 168th and Fort, northwest corner. As you said, a lot of units.
Large.
Now, this is a medium-density multifamily residential district, multiple buildings. Looking at the renderings, looks like some of the buildings are 2 or 3, some of them are 4 stories. Big project.
Is that Lonergan Lake over there, I think?
It's the new... It's the new lake, but Lonergan Lake is up north. Music's playing. Sure. We're out of time, and that's it for this week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
Thank you for listening to the Lightning Round by Turner Construction and the Whole Darn Show, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Good stuff, Flanagan Lake.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.